Until now, Valen said grimly. But after 300 years, why are they still hunting you? Surely they've developed countermeasures of their own. Larissa shook her head. The firewall was designed using principles the Dominion cannot replicate. It incorporates aspects of organic intuition and quantum consciousness that their binary logic cannot comprehend. Even now, it remains their greatest vulnerability. A distant alarm suddenly blared from the mining outpost. On the horizon, Valen spotted dark shapes descending from the clouds, Dominion ships. "They've found us already," he said, reaching for his weapons. "We need to move." "There's more," Larissa said urgently. "Your Earth is in imminent danger. The Dominion doesn't just want me, they want humanity. Your species has an unusually high consciousness compatibility rate. You would be their most valuable harvest in millennia." Valen's blood ran cold. "How long do we have?" "Months, perhaps weeks. They're methodical in their preparation. First, they'll establish monitoring outposts, study your defenses, infiltrate your communications. Then, when you least expect it, the harvesting begins." They quickly gathered supplies from the shuttle, preparing to flee into the rocky badlands surrounding the outpost. As they stepped outside, Valen spotted a group of miners approaching, led by a grizzled man with cybernetic implants visible along his jawline. "That's far enough," the man called out, leveling a mining laser at them. "This is private property, and that doesn't look like an authorized vessel." Valen raised his hands slowly. "I'm Commander Riker Valen, Earth Planetary Alliance. We're on an urgent mission and need transportation off-world." The miner's eyes narrowed suspiciously, then shifted to Larissa. His expression changed from hostility to awe. "Stars above," he whispered. "You're Stellaris." Larissa stepped forward. "You recognize my kind?" "My grandfather was a xenoarchaeologist," the miner explained. "Had a whole collection of artifacts from the Crystal People. Said they were the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known, wiped out centuries ago." He lowered his weapon. "Name's Dorian Barrett. What's a Stellaris doing with an Alliance officer?" "Warning you," Larissa said simply. "The force that destroyed my people is coming for yours next." Barrett looked skeptical until another alarm sounded, this one more urgent than the last. "Proximity alert," one of the other miners said, checking a handheld device. "Multiple bogies entering the atmosphere. Not Alliance signatures." Barrett's expression hardened. "Inside. Now." He led them to the main compound, a reinforced structure half buried in the red soil for protection against dust storms. As they entered, Valen noticed the facility was far more sophisticated than it appeared from outside, with advanced communications equipment and weapons storage. "This isn't just a mining operation," he observed. Barrett secured the door behind them. "Officially, we extract rare minerals. Unofficially, we're an Alliance black site, forward reconnaissance for regions beyond established territories." "Then you have FTL communication capabilities," Valen said. "Better," Barrett replied, leading them to a chamber in the back of the facility. Inside stood a quantum entanglement communicator, technology that allowed instantaneous communication across any distance. "I need to warn Earth Command," Valen said. As Barrett activated the communicator, Larissa touched Valen's arm. "Even if they believe you, conventional defenses will be useless against the Dominion." "What do you suggest?" Valen asked. "We find the other Guardians," she said. "I wasn't the only one sent into hiding. There were 5 of us, each carrying a different component of the final protocol. Together, we can implement the firewall across your entire solar system." The communicator hummed to life, projecting the stern face of Admiral Harlow, Valen's superior officer. "Commander Valen," the Admiral said, surprise evident in his voice. "You've been listed as missing in action. Your outpost reported an attack by unknown forces." "Those forces are called the Dominion," Valen replied. "And they're coming for Earth. Outside, the Dominion ships began their systematic search of the mining facility, their hunter-seekers deploying once more. Time was running out. The Dominion ships encircled the mining facility, their weapons charging with an ominous hum. Inside, Barrett activated the facility's defense grid while Valen finished his urgent briefing to Admiral Harlow. The Phantom systems surged with new energy as Larissa implemented modifications that shouldn't have been possible with human technology. The stealth field expanded, and the sensors' range doubled. "I've created a Phantom Echo," she explained. "A false signature that will appear as a fleet approaching from the opposite side of the system." The strategy worked. As they approached, the Dominion ships redirected to intercept the non-existent threat, creating a gap in their blockade. Valen guided the Phantom through, using a gas giant's rings for additional cover. They landed in a dense jungle region on Epsilon Eridani II, away from the Dominion patrols searching the planet. The humidity hit them like a wall as they exited the ship, the air thick with exotic scents and the sounds of alien wildlife. "Terius is nearby," Larissa said, her pendant pulsing with increasing frequency. "Within a few kilometers." They trekked through the jungle, following Larissa's guidance. After hours of difficult navigation, they reached an ancient structure partially reclaimed by vegetation, clearly Stellaris in design, with crystalline architecture that somehow harmonized with the natural environment. "A sanctuary outpost," Larissa explained. "Built thousands of years ago during our first expansion era." They entered cautiously, Valen's weapon ready. The interior was dark until Larissa touched a crystal embedded in the wall. Light bloomed throughout the structure, revealing beautiful geometric patterns that seemed to shift subtly, as if alive. "Terius?" Larissa called out, her voice echoing in the ancient halls. A panel slid open in the central chamber, revealing a stasis pod similar to the one that had held Larissa. Inside was a male Stellaris, his features noble and distinguished even in suspended animation. "The awakening sequence requires Stellaris DNA," Larissa said, placing her hand on the control panel. As the pod opened, Terius awakened with a gasp. His eyes, swirling with different colored patterns than Larissa's, immediately found her. "Larissa," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "You survived." "As did you, old friend," she replied, helping him from the pod. Terius noticed Valen, his expression cautious until Larissa explained their alliance. His demeanor changed to one of interest and respect. "A human," he said, studying Valen. "Your kind was just beginning interstellar exploration when I entered stasis. Now you stand as our ally against the Dominion." "The other Guardians," Larissa pressed. "Can you sense them?" Terius closed his eyes, concentrating. "Nerith lives, on a world humans call Tau Ceti F. Valen survives in the Sirius system. But Kelter." He opened his eyes, sorrow evident. "Kelter's light has faded from the consciousness network." "Then the Dominion has at least one component of the protocol," Valen said grimly. "Not necessarily," Terius replied. "Each Guardian implemented failsafes. If captured, our component would be transferred to a secondary carrier." Their planning was interrupted by a distant explosion that shook the sanctuary. Outside, Dominion ships descended through the atmosphere. "They found us," Valen said, checking his tactical scanner. "We have minutes at most." Terius moved quickly to a hidden compartment, retrieving a crystal similar to Larissa's pendant. "The implementation matrix. With this and Larissa's schematics, we have two components of the firewall. We need to reach the others," Larissa said. "There's no time to return to the Phantom," Valen warned as the sounds of hunter-seekers grew closer. Terius led them to the sanctuary's lower level, revealing an ancient Stellaris transport chamber. "This gateway network was sealed when the Dominion invaded, but I can reactivate it for one journey." As he worked to restore power to the ancient technology, Valen set defensive charges at the sanctuary's entrance. Larissa joined him, now handling a human weapon with surprising proficiency. "You're a quick learner," Valen observed. Neural assimilation works both ways, she explained with a small smile. I've integrated some of your combat knowledge. The first hunter-seekers breached the sanctuary's outer defenses just as Terius called out, the gateway is active. We must go now. They rushed to the transport chamber as Dominion forces invaded the sanctuary. Terius programmed coordinates while Valen and Larissa held off the attackers. Set for Tau Ceti, Terius announced. We find Nerith next. The three stepped onto the platform as energy blasts tore through the sanctuary walls. The transport activated with a blinding flash, molecules disassembling as the ancient Stellaris technology transported them across light years, leaving the Dominion forces empty-handed once again. The ancient transport technology reassembled their molecules on Tau Ceti F, a vibrant world of azure oceans and floating islands. They materialized inside a structure similar to the sanctuary on Epsilon Eridani II, though this one appeared intact and maintained. Nerith has kept this place operational, Terius observed, moving through the crystalline halls with renewed vigor. Larissa's pendant pulsed rhythmically. She's near. The protocol component is active. They found Nerith in the sanctuary's central chamber, not in stasis but fully conscious. Unlike the other Guardians, she had chosen to remain awake through the centuries, maintaining the sanctuary and monitoring the galaxy through Stellaris technology. I've awaited this day, she said, her voice melodic yet powerful. Her eyes, swirling with emerald patterns, assessed Valen with keen interest. Humanity's involvement was always a possibility in our contingency plans. You knew about us? Valen asked. We observed Earth for millennia, Nerith explained. Your species shows remarkable potential, creativity, adaptability, empathy. Qualities the Dominion cannot understand yet fears immensely. She retrieved her component, the interface catalyst, from a secure chamber. With this, we have 3 parts of the protocol. Only Valen's consciousness key remains. Their reunion was interrupted by a sanctuary alert. Displays activated, showing multiple Dominion capital ships entering the Tau Ceti system. They're tracking us through the consciousness network, Terius realized. Our awakened state creates ripples they can detect. Then we go directly to Earth, Nerith decided. The protocol can be implemented with 3 components. Its effectiveness will be reduced, but it can still shield humanity long enough to prepare a counteroffensive. What about Valen? Larissa asked. I lost contact with the Sirius Sanctuary years ago, Nerith admitted. The Dominion established a major harvesting hub in that system. Attempting to reach Valen would be suicide. Valen studied the tactical displays. The Dominion fleet will have this planet surrounded within hours. How do we reach Earth? Nerith led them to a hidden hangar where a Stellaris vessel awaited, sleek, crystalline, and unlike any ship Valen had seen. This craft contains our most advanced propulsion technology. It can reach your solar system before the Dominion realizes we've departed. As they prepared for launch, the 3 Guardians combined their components, creating a partial implementation of the protocol. The crystals merged, forming a complex geometric structure that pulsed with consciousness energy. Even incomplete, this will disrupt their harvesting technology, Terius explained. The Stellaris ship launched, its crystalline structure shifting to achieve optimal aerodynamics as they ascended through Tau Ceti F's atmosphere. Once in space, Nerith activated the consciousness drive, a technology that used the power of their combined awareness to fold space around them. They arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system mere hours later, but found a horrifying sight awaiting them. A massive Dominion harvesting vessel had already positioned itself near Mars, with smaller ships establishing a perimeter throughout the system. We're too late, Valen said, despair evident in his voice. The invasion has begun. Earth's defense fleet engaged the Dominion forces, but their weapons barely penetrated the advanced shields. The Alliance's most powerful vessels were being systematically disabled. We need to implement the protocol now, Larissa urged. Not from here, Nerith said. We must reach Earth's consciousness nexus, the point where human awareness is most concentrated. Valen understood immediately. Major population centers. But which one? Your species has an unexpected concentration of consciousness energy in Antarctica, Terius observed, studying the ship's sensors. Below the ice. Something ancient and powerful. They navigated through the chaotic space battle, their Stellaris vessel's advanced technology allowing them to evade detection. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, Valen received an emergency transmission from Admiral Harlow. Commander, if you're receiving this, the situation is critical. The Dominion has deployed harvesting technology in major cities. Millions are already in catatonic states, their consciousness being extracted. We're fighting a losing battle. The Stellaris ship landed on the Antarctic ice sheet, at coordinates Terius identified as the consciousness nexus. Below the ice lay ruins predating human civilization, evidence of ancient Stellaris presence on Earth. Your planet was once an outpost of our empire, Nerith explained as they descended into the ruins. We departed when your species began to develop consciousness, allowing you to evolve naturally. In the central chamber of the ruins, they found an activation pedestal designed for the protocol components. The three Guardians placed their combined crystal upon it, initiating the implementation sequence. Without the consciousness key, the firewall will only function at reduced capacity, Terius warned. It's still our best hope, Valen said. As the activation sequence neared completion, the ruins shook violently. The Dominion had tracked them. Hunter-seekers breached the ice above, descending into the ancient structure. Protect the protocol. Larissa shouted, engaging the attackers alongside Valen. They fought desperately, but were gradually overwhelmed by the sheer number of Dominion forces. Terius fell, wounded by an energy blast. Nerith continued the implementation process as Larissa and Valen formed a last defensive line. It's not going to be enough, Valen realized, watching more hunter-seekers pour in. Suddenly, the chamber filled with blinding light. A new figure materialized, another Stellaris, his appearance regal despite signs of hardship. Valen, Larissa whispered in disbelief. The fourth Guardian held the final component, the consciousness key. I escaped the Sirius harvesting hub when I sensed your awakening, he explained, moving to the pedestal. The protocol must be complete. With the addition of the final component, the combined crystal emitted a pulse of energy that spread outward in an expanding sphere. The hunter-seekers froze, their systems disrupted by the consciousness firewall. It's working, Terius said, rising despite his wounds. The pulse continued expanding, reaching Earth's major cities. Reports flooded in, harvested humans awakening, Dominion ships losing control as the consciousness network they relied upon collapsed. In orbit, the massive harvesting vessel attempted to flee, but the protocol's effects had spread throughout the solar system. The Dominion flagship imploded as the harvested consciousnesses within it were released, overwhelming its systems. The first battle is won, Valen said, but the war has just begun. The Dominion spans galaxies. They will adapt, return stronger. Then we'll be ready, Valen replied, standing beside Larissa. Their hands found each other's, human and Stellaris united. 1 month later, representatives from Earth and its colonies gathered at the Antarctic site, now established as humanity's first consciousness academy. The 4 Stellaris Guardians had begun training selected humans in their ancient arts, preparing Earth for its new role as the frontline in the struggle against the Dominion. Valen stood with Larissa on a balcony overlooking the academy. Your people slept for centuries to save mine, he said. That's a debt we can never fully repay. There is no debt between allies, Larissa replied, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Your touch awakened me from more than just stasis, Riker. You reminded me what we're fighting for, not just survival, but connection. She placed her hand over his heart, a gesture of deep affection in Stellaris culture. My people have a saying, when 2 consciousnesses resonate in harmony, even the stars listen. Above them, Earth's new defensive network glimmered in the night sky, a combination of human innovation and Stellaris wisdom. The first chapter in humanity's greatest challenge had ended, but their story, like the consciousness that united them, would continue expanding across the stars.